All right, welcome back, everybody, for a new episode of Chasing Ghosts. As you know by now, this is the video series where I talk about those hard to find, those impossible to find comics, those things that you just have to do some legwork, you got to do some research, you got to get lucky in a lot of cases in tracking some of these books down because they're just not up on the wall at your LCS. They're not just easy pickups. These are things, like I said, you got to do a little extra work to go and find. Hopefully you're still enjoying this series as well as everything else here on the channel. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Please like, subscribe, hit the alert button so you don't miss anything. Keep telling your friends so we can keep growing the channel. We're getting close to 2,400 subs. Once we get to 2,500, I'll probably do another round of giveaways. So yeah, if you like free stuff, keep telling your friends so we can give some more stuff away. And that said, I realized we haven't done one of these in a while, so we have a special edition of Chasing Ghosts for you this week. So if you want to see what that special edition is, if you weren't tipped off by either the thumbnail or my clothing, you're going to see what it is in about a few seconds after the intro. All right? See you soon. All right, if that wasn't heavy-handed in teasing what this show was all about, well, here you go. This is going to be our Star Wars episode. Another Star Wars episode of Chasing Ghosts with some more hard-to-find and impossible-to-find Star Wars comics. Get ready to do the live Star Wars show here on Sunday. I'm recording this on Sunday before that show. Try to get this done early to get it out to you guys. But that's also partly why I'm all Star Wars'd up. But there's still plenty of these books that are just not easy to go and track down. So we're going to start in with some of these 1 in 25 incentive variants for the TIE Fighter series. Here, with all the talk about the recent Inferno Squad, don't forget we did have the Alphabet Squadron featured heavily in this series as well as on these variant covers. So here we are with the first one. Eureka Quell, I don't know if I'm saying her name even close to how it's supposed to be done, but there we go. This is a great cover, by the way. Fantastic art by Jeff Langvin. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right at all, but this is a 1 in 25 from April 2019. Print run on this thing was a little over 30,000, so the incentive in a 1 in 25 is going to give you a little over 1,200 copies, potentially. Remember, these are estimated numbers. These are not set in stone. Don't take this as gospel. This is just the best information we have to work with based off of numbers from Comic-Con with the estimated print run orders, as well as the incentive ratios and just doing that basic little bit of math. So these are estimates, not set in stone. But what we can say we do know is that there are only a few in the CGC census. There are 19 to be exact, with 798s, 596s, 594s, and a couple of others to fill out that 19 in the CGC census. So not a lot submitted for this book in the census. Despite there being over 1,200 potential copies, only 19 in the census. Copy sold. We did have one. Over the last 3 months, we found one raw back on New Year's Eve for $90. $90 raw for this book. So it is not cheap. If you know, we usually talk about ratio and the ratio pricing. This is a 1 in 25. You start the pricing at $25. This is selling for 90. So you can see this is well over triple ratio, nearing quadruple ratio at the prices that it's trajectory it's heading right now. So definitely not an easy book to find, and definitely not a cheap one if you do find it. Again, that's what's sold. What's on the market though? Well, I did find two, but only two. But I did find two. There was another $90 copy raw there. And then there is $250 for a CGC 9.6. So not a 9.8 for $250. That's a 9.6 for $250. And then you can have that raw for $90. Not a lot out there. So this is what you got to work with. So good luck. But this isn't the only one from the series. As I said, this is only a 5-issue miniseries as it is. And all of them have incentives. So we're going to run through it. I know. But hey, this is what we do on this show. We got to go through all of them. Check it out. Number 2, another Alphabet Squadron character. Will Lark, I guess, on this one, on issue 2. Also, Jeff Langevin cover, if I'm saying his name right, or even close to right. 1 of 25, this time May of 2019. Print run on this one dips down to about 22,000. So the incentive now dips down to under 900. So 881 is my best guess at what could be out there. In the CGC census, so once again, not many, only 2. We got a 9.4 and a 9.2, and that's it. Interesting. So the highest graded copy on the issue 2 is only a 9.4. And if you want to take a shot to get that first 9.6 or first 9.8, well, you probably didn't buy it recently because there were no copies sold of this particular one recently in the last 3 months. No copies sold, nor could I find any for sale. So if you want to be that first 9.8 or 9.6, I hope you have it already because there's none out there to be had right now. Who knows? Times can change, things can change. This is a moment in time. This is a screen capture of this moment in time of what the market is like. And right now, it's empty. So, TIE Fighter number 2, good luck if you want to go and find that one. But let's move on to another cool cover. Seeing a theme running here, right? With these covers, with the Alphabet Squadron. We got issue 3. I'm not even going to... Chastin the Chaddick? I don't know. Doing my best with their names. B-Wing Pilot, Alphabet Squadron. Again, Jeff Langevin cover, 1 in 25. We're looking at June of 2019 here. Print run dips below 20,000 now. We're at about 798 copies of the incentive, if we do that quick little math. Only a couple of copies in the census for this one, but there are 7 now. 2 9.8s, a 9.6, 3 9.4s, and a 9.2, and that's it. We did have a couple of sales on this particular copy. Raw 10 bids, only got it to $46. Way back in December. Also in December, best offer on a 9.6 on a $105 start price. So I didn't dig in to find out what the actual accepted price was. I could have, but I figured we don't need it for a ballpark estimates, ballpark idea. You get it, under $100 probably for this 9.6. That's what sold. Both of those sales were in December, however, and right now on the market, we got one, only one, and it's a 9.8, and it wants 4 bills. $400 for a 9.8 right now, and that's your only option if you're shopping on eBay. I'm sure you can go find it maybe in other places. Good luck, but most of what I'm doing my searches on are just based off of eBay. I know most of us, that's how we do some shopping. It's the easiest marketplace probably to go through, so that's why I do that. Most of my looking here for this show, because it also makes it quick. Otherwise, I couldn't do this show weekly. If I had to do more in-depth research and scour the darkest corners of the interwebs, one, I'd probably then want to buy all the books for myself if I did that. And 2, I wouldn't be able to put out a show every week. So this is just for fun. Remember, this is just for fun. You do what you want with this information. I'm not here to try to create FOMO or try to make you want to go and buy all these books. I'm just looking into some stuff that interests me, that I'm curious about, and sharing what I find with all of you. Now, moving on. That's issue 3. Let's keep it rolling with issue 4, which breaks our pattern. With the Alphabet Squadron spotlight covers here. And now we've got a faceless Rebel. Or Rebel, well, they got a Rebel helmet, but Imperial armbands on it. So here we go. Leonard Kirk on this cover, 1 in 25 for July of 2019. Print run still under that 20,000 mark. So the incentive is under that 800 mark. CGC census only has 3. 2 9.8s, 1 9.6, and that's it. Couple of copies sold in the last couple of months, and they sold for pretty cheap. Look, one sold for $4. $3.99. Mostly because they didn't list it at 2025. They just put Star Wars TIE Fighter variant, very fine plus. And then another one sold for $30 thereabouts, with $20 shipping out of the Netherlands. So that was really more of a $45, $50 cost for anyone in the US. But $4, somebody snuck one just a couple of days ago on the 22nd with 1 bid. But then again, I didn't dig into it. That says 1 bid, but if there was a best offer also on that, we wouldn't see what the actual accepted offer price is unless you go and dig into it. It's because some of the auctions that have an auction start price, but then a buy it now price or make an offer, when it's sold at offer, it just shows like this, as sold with 1 bid at the starting price. It doesn't tell you the exact price. So I'm not saying that definitely sold for $4. Probably should have dug into that one to see what it did sell for, but I'm not going to. So you can go dig in if you want to. If you don't know how to dig, reach out to me on IG. I'll tell you the easiest way to go and do it. Some sites you can use. They're kind of a pain, so I don't want to promote them, but there are ways. There's methods. That's it. Moving on. If you want one, there are none out there right now. So much like our number 2, no copies available right now. So very interesting. And that's kind of why I do this show and why I'm doing this doing this digging. I had no idea what the end results were going to be until I actually started doing research today. I did this morning. I did all the cover work. I knew what books I wanted to cover, what books I wanted to research, which books I thought would be tough to find. But the actual numbers and the research of how many are out there, I didn't do that ahead of time. I just did that this morning when I put this deck together. So I didn't know what the end results were going to be until I actually did them. So with that said, let's move on to number 5. And number 5 has 2 1 in 25 incentive variants. We're going to start here with this first one. Pretty cool. Love the helmet, the broken helmet, explosions going on in the background. Pretty awesome. This is a Yasmin Putri cover, 1 in 25, August 2019. Print run is down below 19,000 now, so the incentive is about 750 copies potentially. I guess times 2 because there's 2 different versions. Again, I don't know how shops got to decide. I don't know if when they hit that 25 mark, if they can buy one of each of these or how that works, but there, I can just say there are 2 1 in 25 incentives, and this is what the estimated print runs were. So make your own guesses of how many could be out there. But I'll tell you in the census, there's only 6 for this particular cover, 598 and 196, and that's it. And we haven't had any that have sold within the last 3 months, at least on eBay that I could find and track down. And if you want to go buy one, I found one, just one, and it only wants $20 and about another $20 shipping out of Canada. But there you go. If you want this book, it's priced under ratio, but then you got to pay for that shipping. And this is for one version of the 1 in 25 for issue 5. And then for the final issue and the next incentive, we get another spotlight here for the Alphabet Squadron. And this time, Kairos, I don't know. Pretty cool cover, though. Solid design, pretty cool look. Getting back to those Jeff Langevin covers. August 2019, 1 in 25. So all the details are going to be the same with the print run, incentive estimate, 750, all that. But the census on this one only has 2. We got a 9.8 and we got a 9.6, and that's it. But we do have some copies that have sold. Not a ton, but no, mind you, but we do have these 3. $50 raw, $50 raw, best offer on a 9.6 that started asking about $135. So somewhere under $135 for a 9.6. That's what sold. But if you wanted to go buy one, couldn't find any of these either. So no copies available, despite the fact that 3 of them had sold the last couple of months. So good luck. Good luck with the TIE Fighter. All right, I know we spent a lot of time on doing one series, but that's kind of what I was doing, because some of these runs of these comics out of Marvel were tough, like especially the lower printed ones. When you're talking about a Star Wars comic book with a print run under 30 and under 20,000, that's on the lower end, really, for Marvel Star Wars, because most of them are pretty heavily printed. At least the regular Star Wars title, tons. I mean, when it started, I think it was 1 million copies sold of that first Star Wars book, Star Wars number 1 in 2015, which was one of the first times we hit that number in, decades? And that's if that's true or not. I mean, all we know is there's tons. But that said, let's take a look at another little side story. How about Solo, a Star Wars story? Adaptation. We're only going to go through the whole run. Don't worry. We're not going through the whole run. We may dip back to this later, but for today's purposes, I'm only covering this one. We may get into the 1 in 25s on some of the other books later at another time. But for now, we're just doing number 1, Star Wars. Solo, a Star Wars story. This is a 1 in 50 incentive by Luke Ross. So, where did it go? Anyway, that's a 1 in 50. I don't know why the little thing didn't come out showing the 1 in 50, but it's 1 in 50. And the print run on this is only about 25,000 copies. So when you do that math, the incentive may only have 500 copies potentially out there. Again, estimates, I don't know what they actually printed. I have no idea. I'm just giving you the information that's available to me as far as the print run goes. And you do that quick math of a 1 in 50 on 25,000 copies, gets you about 500. So that's why I put that there. In the census for this book, there are a decent amount, 36. This is the most we've had today so far as submissions go. 21 9.8s, 13 9.6s, and a few others for this 1 in 50. We had a couple of sales as well for this book. 9.6 best offer on $150, a 9.8 sold for $225. Not too bad. And if you're out shopping for this one, well, you actually do have options. Despite there might only being 500 or so copies, I found you 4 options out on the market right now. None of them are cheap. All of them are graded anywhere from $225 to $300, basically. CBCS, CGC graded all across the board here. And I think they're all 9.8s. Yep, they're all 9/8. So that's all you got. I couldn't find any raws, couldn't find any 9/6s for you. So if you want it, there you go. That's what you got to pick from. But you have options to pick from. So that's going to take us to our next book and move on, because that one, you know how we run. We basically, I'm doing this. If there's one or none, we'll call it the ghost. If there's more than one, even if there's only two, we'll just call it hard to find. Two or more will just be hard to find. So not to give away the ending here, this one's going to end up on the hard to find list. But let's see about the next one. Now, I actually did buy this next book because I thought this was a really cool cover, and I think I bought it for a right around ratio. Star Wars Empire Ascendant, riding the Tauntaun, really cool cover. Dig it. This is a Patrick Zurcher cover, 1/25 from December of 2019. I believe this is a one shot, so it's not a whole series. It's just a one shot. Print run on this is about 31,400 copies. So the incentive for 1/25 would be a little over 1,200 copies. Not too bad, decent number. I just thought it was a cool cover and I wanted it, so I went and got one. In the census for this book, decent amount, 38 copies, 35 9/8s, 2 9/6s, and it looks like a single 9/0. And that's the whole 38s in the census. What is this sold for? Last couple of months, I found one sale in the last couple of months, and it was for a best offer on a 9/8 of $300. $300 asking price. Best offer accepted, somewhere under $300 for that 9/8. And that's the only copy I could find that sold. And if you want to see what's available, I did find copies available. But what I found was this book is nowhere near as cheap as it was when I bought it. Because, yes, there are copies out there. I found 4 examples for you. But they are expensive. $250 raw, $400 9/8, $425 9/8. So they're out there. It's just pricey. Keep that in mind, because that's the 1/25. Again, really cool cover. Really cool cover. And God, I got one. Maybe I should get mine graded. Maybe I'll put it in my CGC submission. I'll go take a look to see how nice it is, because if it's $400 ask, I don't want to sell it. But, maybe it's worth getting graded. I don't know. But this is the 1/25. And I keep mentioning this is the 1/25 because there is a 1/50. And we're going to look at that one next. So this one, in theory, should be twice as hard to find. Does the math work out to make it twice as more expensive? Let's find out. So this Empire Ascendant #1, pretty cool Vader. You got the, Star Destroyer up above him. It's a classic image. It's an image we've seen plenty of times, but it's still well executed. I love the glow of the lightsaber in the cape there. I dig it. Details matter. Details are good here. This is Giuseppe Camuncoli, if I'm saying his name right. Cover 1/50. Again, December 2019. Print run still 31,000 plus. But the incentive here, if it's a 1/50, would be half of the other, is only maybe about 630 copies. Maybe. Again, estimates. Census only has 16, with 11 9/8s, 3 9/6s, and then a couple of others. Copy sold. Found one copy sold in the last 3 months, and it was only $75. So where the 1/25 had that 9/8 that sold at a best offer, what was it, $200 to $300, $250 to $300 best offer. This just had a raw sale, $75. That's the only sale I could find. But let's look at the asking prices and how many we got out there, because while we had 4 of that 1/25 Empire Ascendant, I found even more of the 1/50 out there, which I found interesting. And the prices are kind of all over. I mean, there's copies out there as cheap as $30 or $110 raw, or $130 raw, or $300 for a 9/8. So again, wider range here, whereas the 1/25 was asking, what was it, $200 and $250, or was it $250 and $300 raw, and then $400 9/8? This is much cheaper, despite it being twice as or you know what I mean? It's 1/50, so it's gonna be doubly as hard. Less stores would have qualified. Less stores would have qualified and got copies of this. So this should, in theory, be much harder to find, but it is much more accessible. Well, maybe not much more, but it is more accessible with more than 4 copies, and the prices are cheaper. Just interesting. But the cover on the other one is is more unique, I guess. So maybe that's the reason. Anyway, once again, this probably ain't going to hit in our ghost for this week because there are copies. But let's take a look at our next book. Got a couple more for you. Not a ton more, but a couple more for you. let's take a look at Star Wars Age of Rebellion. There's probably more of these I should get into, but the first one I'm dipping my toe into for these Age of Rebellion, the Age of Resistance, and Age of the Empire, I think are the three. Or I can't remember the three, but this is the Age of Rebellion, Luke Skywalker, #1. Yeah, there are a lot of covers. A lot of covers. In fact, there are all different types of ratios of like 10s and 25s, 50s, but this is the 1 in 100 for this. And this is a Chris Sprouse cover. Chris Sprouse, who we know for all the anniversary covers, more notably for all the anniversary covers. This is a pretty cool, close up zoom in on Luke lightsaber, 1 in 100, June of 2019. Print run on this book was only about 35,000. So a 1 in 100 is going to give us maybe 350 copies. Granted, I don't know if that number is real, true, or not. That's just the estimate. But I will back up the fact that there are only one copy. I shouldn't say there is only one copy in the census, and it's a 9.2. That's it. So not even a 9.8. So only one in the census is a 9.2 for this book. Copies sold? None. So we didn't have any sold the last 3 months either. So I can't tell you what the market would be on this book. Nor could I tell you what the asking price is for this book because I also found none. So could be like 300 copies, but we can't find any out there. So who knows what this one might be or what this one might be worth. Like I said, pretty cool cover. I don't have it. If you do, tag me on Instagram. Let me know. If you have it, share, show it off. That's cool. I'd like to see it. So, as you guys know, that's tag me on anything. You do pickups, showing off some of the books that I'm sharing here. Show off that you got it. Share it with the community so we can all see it and appreciate. We can applaud you for owning it. I don't have to be jealous. I can applaud and be happy for you for having this book because I don't have it. Maybe you do. That said, we got one more book, and it ties in a little bit to this because, like I said, this one our estimate had it at 350, right? This book, it's not an official Star Wars book. This is like an ash can, a little side independent story, independently published. Old Man Skywalker. Daniel Warren Johnson published this in January 2019. And from what I'd gathered and what it said out there, this should have been limited to 300 copies. That's what I read on the internets. On the interwebs, this is what they're saying. So, no incentive. Our print run is going to be that 300 mark because that's what I saw out there as the mark. That's what they made. So this is less than that Sprouse Luke, right? Census. Only 9. Also helps to support not many out there. 798s, 296s. So only 9 in the census. But a lot of these sold. I want to say a lot. I don't know. Maybe there was like 10 to 12. There's like maybe a dozen. But I saw a pile of sales. I'm only showing you 3 to give you broad strokes examples. Raw copies were selling for like 70, best offer on 65, best offer on $100. So that's kind of that price. So under $100, 60 to probably like $80 is what this thing was selling for. Asking prices. I did find a few out there. Not a ton, but I did find 3. There is one listed for only $25, but it says misprint cover only. So I don't know why you would want to just buy the cover, but if you do, there you go. Cover only, $25. Other than that, there's a $99.99 copy and a $200 copy. But there are copies. So with that said, let's take a look at our end results. I gave you a little bit of a couple piles of books, a couple of a series, and some randos. Let's take a look at what we got for this week. This week we got 5. Many of the, which actually just a couple, most of those individual ones we'll say are hard to find because there was a couple copies of a few of these, and then maybe more than that for a couple of the others. So these 5 books will be hard to find, but that leaves most of these then. That leaves me with 6 options, and most of those TIE Fighter books and that one Luke Skywalker book with either one or none out there. We will make these our ghosts for this week. So let me know what you think in the comment section. Again, if you have any of these, tag me on Instagram, share it. Let's see it. Again, show off your books. We should all appreciate this hobby and just have fun, right? So thanks for stopping by and checking this out. This was my Star Wars special. Try to do this every couple of months because there's still more. There's still more Star Wars specific ones to go through. But next week, I'll go back to the normal mix of some random books, mostly Marvel probably. And we'll just keep it rolling like we usually have. But hopefully you're still enjoying this series as well as everything else here in the channel. Like I said, let me know what you think in the comment section. Let me know if you have any of these books in the comment section. Let me know on IG by tagging me. With that all said, hope you're still enjoying this series as much as I'm enjoying going through these books. And we got plenty more content coming your way. And I'll see you guys later. All right.